Actually, even before I begin talking about what I wanted to talk about, I wanted to proclaim that in the Civil War database, MapGrid database is what I'm talking about, where you can designate four graphics quadrants of a map. And I wanted to show that those graphics are actually being made in Canvas software. And for those who may know, originally owned by Deneba, now I think it's owned by Corel or ACD. I'm not sure. I haven't upgraded in many years because the version I have is working just fine. I don't see a reason to upgrade. Well, there are some reasons. Maybe with Windows 11 there will be a good inspiration or reason to upgrade. There's some geospatial enhancements that I've never upgraded to. Okay, so what you're looking at here is the creation of these business cards, right? That's what they are. They come together. The four business cards come together to create a map. And the reason that we do that is so that a person can put these things, these individual cards, and print them out on a business card stock, and then have the manual ability to, on their table, to create a map just by moving sections around. But here's the thing. Each of these so far are designated for a location on the screen, and therefore the quadrant, upper left, lower left, or mid, we call it, upper right, and then mid or lower right. So the reason for that is because as a matrix, as a graphic system that can be modular layouts. For now, it's just the rivers, but there's more. In the flashcard machine online database, or card shuffling, flashcards is what they are, is where we're uploading these things to. But these are designated top left so that the rivers, which is what these are, enter and exit certain locations on the perimeter of each card. So the upper left looks like a certain way, the lower left looks a certain way, upper right looks a certain way, and lower right looks a certain way. Meaning that the rivers connect in certain ways, exiting in exact points on each of the cards. So you can't put an upper left card in the upper right location online. Well, you can, but it won't connect. You can put it up there if it looks interesting, but it won't connect to any other of the graphics. So what I'm saying is you got to keep them together. You got to understand upper left all look like this, and upper right all look like this, and then you put them together, and so there you are. Okay, so that's what this is about. I just wanted to say that this is being, this is being made in Canvas, and it takes, as you can see by the grid structure, that exit and entry points of rivers. Okay, let's put this away. Well, actually, I really need this. It'll ask me to save. I'll say yes. Okay, so, and what are we talking about? Okay, so we are talking about, can I move this? No, I'd already committed to it. Okay. Anyway, let's do this. No, I don't want to do that. Okay. Well, good enough. So when we are looking at that is this. This is the database. Let's go to the MapGrid index, which is to say the list of all the files that we have so far, the records. Okay. And there's one thing I wanted to find out, and I have yet to research it. I want to be able to duplicate or copy a record from within the interface instead of going into the admin console. I want a user to be able to duplicate, so I'll figure that out. I don't know if it's possible. The Wix platform may not allow the duplication of a record by a user. Okay, so this is the index. And when we go to click on one, you can see that it's got a name, an era. For this case, it's just Excalibur, because that's what we'll throw that out there. And the author's name is MeTC. There is, however, a couple of changes from the last time we did a video update on this database. One of the most important things is that after you've created a battlefield, and this is your battlefield, but all of a sudden you might say, you know what, I actually hand-drawn one that's even better. I have an image that I can scan and upload and take the place of this. But here's the thing. You can upload an image to take the place of this, but you don't actually remove what's there, because it's a layered image on top of all this, which you can then remove. So on the one hand, you've got your map, and it looks interesting. There's no roads and no hills yet, but you can add those in. We'll get to that. But you can also completely remove what you've done here and put a graphic on top of it, a completely different graphic on top of it, and save it, and you won't lose what's underneath because you didn't remove what's underneath. So, example is, I think, there might be one that already, let's go look. I forget the name of it. It's already here, though. I'm going to just click through these until I find it. I think it looks pretty obvious because it's big graphic that shows that's pretty cool, right? When you go through this, you see all the little battlefields that have been created. There it is. There's the hand-drawn upload test. So what that is a graphic that I drew in Snagit and saved it to the size that is needed for this, which is, again, the 4 business cards. So whatever that size is what I drew, and I just drew a river. And then I uploaded it. But let's do this. Let's remove this. I think there's something underneath it. I covered it up. Let's upload a blank. Do we have a blank? It's not a blank. It's not a white. It's a clear overlay that will take the place of the map that we uploaded, the graphic. Okay, so let's do not a blank out, but a clear. I think it's clear. Now, just wait a second. It looks like, oh, Terry, that's a green square. No, it's not. In Snagit or any other graphic program, you might have an object, in this case, a square. And it could be the size of the overlay, or it could be smaller. But the point is, the whole graphic that you've chosen will fill that square that's online, right? That you're going to replace. It looks like green, but in Snagit and in other capture programs or drawing programs, you designated that green as clear, transparent. So, like a green screen. So that's what this, hopefully, now that I've said this, make sure this works. It's going to be clear when it gets uploaded, but it looks like green right now. If you do this, sometimes you'll understand what I mean. Okay, so we created an image, is a colored square. We designated that color as clear, transparent, and then it still maintains that green, right? It still looks like it's still green. Well, that's the way it works. So anyway, let's open this. Hope this works. I think it does. And then we'll submit and remain on this program. Look at that, right? So the layer is still there. It's just transparent. It just obliterated the other white background river, blue river graphic that I loaded earlier. So that's pretty cool because now I got my thing back. I got my map back. I didn't have to remove all the trees and change the cards and everything individually. I just overwrote it temporarily, if you want to call it that. Oh, no, not that's temporarily. It's just, it's removable. It's undoable. All right, so there we are. And then, of course, you'll see some other changes from the previous videos. We got the era. I don't think we had that in there before. We've got our hex overlay already on there. I don't know what else we can. And there's links to the MapGrid index. If you want to create a new file, and so on and so forth. Oh, by the way, I forget how to do this. I've done it before, but I have to go and research it. Creation of a database. I had thought that when you change the name, it will create a new file. No, it doesn't. I believe if the database was designated as a write only, that would be true. So I believe this is designated as read write, and therefore when you do this, you change the name, it will overwrite the file that you've loaded. So anyway, you get the idea. I'll have to find out how. I did this once before, but I don't remember how to do it. So what's the purpose? I want to be able to change the name of this file, which is hand-drawn upload test, right here. I want to be able to change this name and have it create a new file from the name I put in there. So I forget exactly how to do that. It's not important because it's easy enough to create a new map anyway. And how do you do that? Well, here's how you do that. Oh, and by the way, there's a jump down to notes about this battle. So you can jump down here, and it's an RTF field, so rich text, and you can type in there and have certain formatting capabilities in there. Now, also, the graphics that you see at the bottom, those little icons, they don't have to be used. They're just there if you need to want to grab them or something, but they are also in the OneDrive storage area. So, and yes, whatever all this is the matrix. These are the individual cells of the table up here, which is what all these are. Thank you. All these are right here is a table of cells, and that's what those red lines are. The columns have been designated with a red line, so you know where the columns are. And the numbers on the left show the rows. So there's 10 rows and 13 columns. Why is there 13 columns? It's just the way it came out, based on the dimensions and so on that are going on here. Remember, this is a 4x3 hexagon grid, but it can also be a 8-foot by 5-foot size representation. So the grid that you can upload isn't, well, I can show it. 96 by 60, blah, 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 resized, I think is the one I've been using. Let's see, is that the right one? Is it transparent? Yeah, okay. Now, the proportion's a little bit skewed. As you can see, the hexagons are a little skewy, right? But that basically, now, the whole game table is 8 feet by 5 feet. At least it's an illusion. The little tiny hexes represent the same size, 2.5 inch, but now there's a whole bunch of them because the table is huge. Well, what does that mean in a sense? There's some tweaking that has to go on in your brain when you set this game table up. For instance, look at the size of the hill. We don't have hills that big, but that's a huge hill. And look at the size of the forest, etc., etc. So that hill would have to be custom made. Right, that's the only downside here. Sure, it's easy to go and throw an 8 by 5 grid up there, 8 foot by 5 foot, but the things you've got on the map they're not correlating to, they're not designed for that big of a map. They're actually designed for the default of 4 feet by 3 feet, which is kind of the best thing that we've got so far. Instead of having a 2 by 2 game table or a 3 by 3, 4 by 4, it's a 4 by 3 that seems to be like the best compromise for all the sizes, and small enough that the games don't take very long. Okay, so that's it. Now we're going to go back. We didn't save this yet, so we're fine. We didn't, did we? No, I think we just, no, we did. We did save it. So we need to go back and upload our 4 by 3 resized. I don't know why it's called resized. Okay, so we're going back to our 4 by 3 table, and there we are. Okay, So you get the idea. Thanks again, as always, for watching. And oh, I was going to say how to create a new MapGrid file. Okay, we've clicked submit, so that will save. If we go to creating a new one, here's a very quick way. You don't have to do anything here, but just give it a name. And then go back later, like here's an example. Just say TC, and then we'll say submit, and it'll go and upload, and there's TC right there. And you can load it, and now you can put all here. Here, by the way, there's nothing on it. It's blank. You can see where it's not perfectly aligned, but so what? It doesn't really matter. These are the columns of the table, and so from there on, you can start putting in your trees and other terrain things, and cards from the flashcard website. So there we are. Thank you, and we will do more. And I'm more than likely there's going to be more changes, but they'll be relatively minor. Also, I want to do that. How do you save a different version of a file you've already loaded? So I'll find that out. Thank you.